5:30. We'll jump right into roll call. Eric.
Here.
Joey.
Here.
Tanya.
Here.
Edgar.
Here.
Dane.
Here.
I'm here. Alex.
Here.
Dr. Kennedy.
Here.
Lacey. Kane. Demetria.
Here.
Greg. Vinay.
Here.
Patrick.
Here.
And Brandon.
Here.
Awesome. So if everyone could look over tonight's agenda, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Eric?
I move to approve.
Okay. Eric moves. Dane seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstaining? With that, the motion passes. Now, if everyone could look over the meetings from the previous meeting, the minutes from the previous meeting, thank you. Brandon.
I move to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Cool. Brandon moves. Eric seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstaining? That motion passes. And now we'll move into reports. I don't have any for this evening.
The only report that I really wanted to, there's a couple of things. A, that there is $79,803 left in the supplemental budget. And we have roughly about $12,845 on the docket to be voted on tonight. And then also, so from our last meeting, we had discussed about reaching out to the mariachi group for their funds request. So I have reached out, I just have not heard back. But as soon as I do, I'll let you guys know.
On that note, I also reached out to 1927, the K-8 Social Studies Conference. Again, they were on the docket to present last week. I hadn't heard anything. I let them know that we'd be moving it forward, if they would like to come and present. I still haven't heard anything, so again, it'll be on there for you all to discuss and determine what you want to do with it when it comes up there. But we did send outreach at that point, so we can discuss it as it comes up. Additionally, I do know we're waiting, and then we'll see next week. I do know student government was moving forward to fill the final student position, and we just have to go through the dean's office to get that approved. So hopefully we'll have that filled soon, maybe within the next week or two. Additionally, just as kind of a reminder for all of us, is as we're voting, making sure that we're taking the time to ensure that we're voting and that we're doing, especially if they're close votes, that we're not rushing through them, so that way everyone's vote can be counted. Vinay does a good job of trying to catch everyone as quickly as she can, but making sure that all voting members have a chance to vote, so we get those correctly documented on that end. And talk with Shelby too, just to make sure she's also kind of spotting to make sure that everyone's getting a chance to vote from her side. And then finally, the last part I have is just, again, as a reminder, S&A Committee does report up through the Dean of Students as the responsibility, which was delegated by the Board of Trustees. And we have the chance to introduce our new Dean of Students, Dean Greg Heinzelman. Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
So it's a pleasure to be here this afternoon, this evening, I guess. Thanks for the invite to attend the meeting. So I come to Central from the University of Wisconsin system. Spent 22 of the last 25 years at 2 different University of Wisconsin campuses. They're all about 50 below today, not having class, and not going outside, so the weather here is wonderful compared to what it is where I used to call home. So happy to be here. I've worked with fee councils and fee bodies driven by students in the UW system for many, many years, and I appreciate the value of the work that you do. I think that peer review and approval in supporting engagement on campus and in the classroom as it extends outside of the formal environment is an important role that you all have, and I look forward to supporting this group and answering any questions or concerns that you may have. So thank you, it's good to be here.
Awesome. So this is the first call for public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Right, seeing none, we'll jump right into old business subsection.
Eric.
Yeah, sorry guys. Okay.
Okay. I was wondering, I had this session with Lacey last week on Monday. I vote for the supplemental weekends of last week, and I was wondering what would the process be.
And I think with that one, and that's kind of where the conversation we had of being intentional, where we're taking the time to vote. Knowing that it was already voted and counted and documented at that point, it's one of those, we can bring it up with PVAC as it goes, but that's where we have to be intentional in taking the time to vote and making sure that all the votes are counted, because once we move beyond that, or if there is something, again, if we feel that we incorrectly voted, we need to make sure we're calling it at that time before the vote moves forward and proceed at that time. So with that one, yeah.
Any further public comment? Alright, seeing none, now we'll jump into old business, section A. Supplemental funding request voting. We'll start with request 1925, the AMSA Convention and Exposition in the amount of $3,955. Table is open for discussion. Demetria.
I think after hearing them that this would be a great experience for all of them, and it's serving multiple different students, so it's not just a bunch of seniors going. So I definitely think they'll carry it into their club, and it also gives them different experiences, because I know they talked about suturing and how currently only one grad student, I believe, is able to teach that to the students. So having 10 students go and come back, that allows so many more students to have that opportunity, which I think is really great.
Kane and then Eric.
I think too that they put massive effort into the fundraising and effort into finding other ways of funding themselves to go to this conference, including doing different fundraisers through the club. Those that are going are very dedicated to putting time into it, and that really showed, not only in their numbers but in their passion for wanting to go to this event. So I think that's something that should be taken into consideration.
I was gonna say the same thing. They're very much about buy-in. They're doing a GoFundMe. They've been out every Tuesday outside the circ for 6 hours selling hot chocolate and rather warm. And just really being intentional in their fundraising. And that they're showing that to me is showing that they are really about going to this event. Raising their own money, being cognizant that the S&A funds are not infinite, and that's important.
Was I correct in hearing that it was an error that they said that there was a postback who would be among them, that was actually a current student?
A postback student.
Okay, so there.
But yes,
Somebody who's
the person they
currently-
had is a current
Okay, because
student
there
in
was,
some
that
form.
came
Yep.
up, right?
Yep.
But they were a current student,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Lacey.
And just to remind everybody, when we do the reimbursement process, we can only reimburse current students, so it would be vetted out at some point if that wasn't the case in the situation.
Eric.
I make a motion to approve the full amount of $3,955.
Eric moves, Demetria seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Alright, all those opposed? Any abstaining? And with that, the motion passes. Now we'll move on to request 1926, the Midwinter National College Journalism Convention, in the amount of $8,030. Table is open for discussion. Brandon.
Lacey, can you scroll down, please? So they came to us before, right? Yeah, Lacey.
Eric.
I guess I have a concern about this, that it seems to be the people that are going, S&A is about supporting students and supporting all students, and it appears to me that they're not, any of them are actual, just the journalists, they're editors in the organizations, and the whole point of student fees is that we're supporting all students, and it just seems like they're in a lot, I don't know, wouldn't it be beneficial to the organizations to have just actual journalists also going and not just editors of the paper? That's just a personal concern of mine, but because I want to be able to support all students.
Yeah. ahead.
Just the miscommunication, all the editors are also journalists and students. And we do bring it back as well as teaching the class, who are all journalism students, or most are journalism students. There are some that are PR and some marketing, as well as we put it into the work that goes out for the whole student body in Pulse and the Observer. And there's also non-editors going to the conference. So.
I think too that they're also nominating the works overall, so all of the effort that's been going into what I'm assuming is the Observer and Pulse are getting recognized. So even though they might not be going, they're still going to be gaining that experience and that expertise and knowing that their form, their writing is quality and good journalistic value. So I think that there is something to say in their clarification does help as well.
Okay.
I think what Eric means is opening it up to other students as well as that.
Eric?
I wasn't talking about that they weren't students. I was mentioning that in the appearance and what was being presented, that it was just editors and people in management of these organizations. Yes, they're students, but I believe that S&A funds should be used for not just people in leadership, but for the budding journalists in these organizations that are maybe first years or second years. And I am concerned that that does not appear to be happening.
Demetria.
Similarly, 'cause I know that they spoke a lot about how they're going to go to this conference in order to teach the class. I would like to see more backing necessarily from the department then, because it is further. I wasn't sure how it necessarily worked either for their curriculum within the class, so I'm just concerned.
Any further discussion? Or a motion on the table?
Can I ask a question? Following up Dimitri.
You.
Do they have help if we don't help them fully, or if we don't help them at all? Is there a way for them to get other funding to get them there and whatnot?
Sure.
Well, I mean, what I would say is, based on the presentation is again, shared what was available. The hard part is, whether they're able to get other funding or not, we don't know. There was none indicated there was additional funding within that. But again, I think those are important questions. We want to make sure we're asking when they present. I think we did with this one, and I think it was indicated that there was no other pieces at this point.
Well, if we're,
So it would be most likely out of pocket, if not, or not.
Lacey.
Well, and just looking at their request, they actually have stated that they're putting, it looks mostly like just student funds, but then the self-supported funds usually means either department self-support or something outside of the students' pockets. So there is at least support on that end.
I motion to allow the full amount of $3,030.
Brandon moves. Kane seconds. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstaining? The motion passes. Okay. Now we'll move on to 1927, the K through 8 Teaching Social Studies Conference in the amount of $20. The table is now open for discussion.
I motion to approve full amount is necessary.
Sorry, say that one more time. Deny, okay.
Reject.
Okay.
Request.
All right, so Dane makes a motion,
Second.
Eric seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstaining? And with that, this request is denied. All right, supplemental funding request 1928, the ABMA annual conference for $840. Eric?
I just wanted to say that the presentation last week was very, I enjoyed it. I think they, for the primate major here on campus, is a lot different than it used to be. We used to have the primates here on campus, and it was, world renowned. It still is an important program. And I think here's someone who is going to be able realize that she needed to have a degree to move on in her career, and she's going to be able to take the information that she gleans from this conference that sometimes is in Scandinavia, as I think it was last year. So it's all around the world. She's going to be able to meet zoological people from around the world, and I think that's going to help maintain that primate, I don't know what the word is I'm going to use, but even without the chimpanzees here, there's still going to be discussions, there's still going to be a major, there's still going to be people, students wanting to learn, and I think that's going to be beneficial to the greater campus.
Dane?
Not like to disagree or anything, but if we're gonna stick with like benefiting more than one student, yeah, since it's for one student directly. I mean, I don't think she said anything about coming back and displaying her information or whatever. That's just something. And it's not like it's like a huge amount of money, so we're using some money, maybe this is something.
Eric?
Fair point, fair point. I just, from my own point of view, is this is something that is not usually coming and requesting money from, at least in my experience, from S&A. And we're about supporting multiple students in multiple disciplines across the campus. So supporting something like primate research, a student being able to go to a conference is very important.
Demetria?
Motion to allot $840.
Demetria moves, Edgar seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstaining? With that, the motion passes. Now we'll move into new business, subsection A, the base funding program reviews. We will start with the student union custodial. I'm sure
Do you want me up front?
Yeah.
Or- Okay.
Since the camera.
Hey, you have to be on camera.
She was hoping to hide.
Hello, everybody. I know a lot of your faces already, but if I don't, my name is Cherie Wilson. I'm the director of the student union portion of this facility. And I say portion of this facility because, as you probably know and understand, that there are 4 partners in the facility. And today I'm talking about 3 budgets that my area oversees. So the first one, and hopefully I answer all your questions. If you have questions while I'm speaking, feel free to raise your hand. If that's not the protocol, then you can wait till the end. So our custodial budget. Custodial budget, well, what is it? It's our custodians that supply the cleaning of this facility. So the room you're sitting in, for example, they do all of the student union portion of the facility. And we're open quite a few hours throughout the day and on the weekends as well. So we actually employ 7 student staff in that area, and we have 5 professional staff. We do have custodians on the weekend as well, students as well as professional staff. We have one position that, I saw your question about collaboration, and this one kind of hit right on the nail. We have a position that is a window washer position, and it's actually a shared position between all 4 partners in the facility. And so that position cleans the windows for the whole entire building. And it reports under our area. So that's paid for partially under this budget, and then partially is split 4 ways between our 4 partners. Okay. We also, so our students, we pay minimum wage. We do pay $1 more for our lead. We have a lead student employee that helps with the scheduling and helps give direction to the other students. And as far as numbers for students of how many students they serve, we bring into this building about 12 to 15,000 people a day during the academic school year. So That's not all students, obviously, but that just gives you an idea of what they're keeping the building clean for, that amount of people. Okay. So our engineering budget. Our engineering budget oversees the day-to-day building structure and integrity of the circuit as a whole. And I made reference to that because it's not just the student union, but it actually oversees the day-to-day facility mechanically. I don't know if you're aware, but this is not all of the third floor. There's an actual huge portion of the building that's geared just that you never probably have access to, nor should you, nor should I, that is all mechanical stuff. So we have 2 full-time positions in that area, and we also have 1 student staff that assists with them. We also pay that student minimum wage as well. And the fun thing, and I'm going to do a plug because I'm here and I can, we are going to be opening, one of the things that their projects that they're working on right now is we're going to be opening our first all-gender neutral restroom, and it's going to be open on Saturday. So they're going to be working on that this week, and you'll see new signage go up, and so that's something that we've been really pushing for the last few years, and we finally got it. So hopefully students will appreciate that and use that facility. The other area is operations. Operations is a little bit more robust as far as the different services that it provides. The operations oversees the day-to-day management of the student union, including the information center, event support services, which is all the tech. When you go to a concert or an event in the ballroom, all the sound and lighting is done by our event support services area. Usually, if you look in the back to see who's running it, it's a student. We have building services, so on the weekends and after 5 every day, this building is 100% ran by students, which is, I think, is pretty cool. And 99.9% of the time, we don't have any issues. And I've been doing this for a long time, and so I can tell you that they do a fantastic job. We employ in this area, oh, and I should mention Student Union Administration, which is my position, and an OA3 position that's in my area as well. So we have 22 students in this area, and we have 5 professional staff. The program, all 3 of these programs have been in existence for well over 30 years. I'd say forever, but I'm sure it's not forever. So I know for a fact they've been in operation for over 30 years. Our students in this position, again, minimum wage and $1. So each area has a lead, and that lead gets paid $1 more an hour. Some of the student positions range from the information center attendant, where you check out your laptops, the tech leads that are running the equipment that I mentioned earlier, building managers that operate the facility after hours and on the weekends. They do the room setups as well. And then event staff, and they're the ones that will work with the building managers on big nights when we have big shows. They'll be working with them. We schedule about over 5,000 events in this building a year. And so I don't have a particular exact number of students, but the majority of our students and the programs within the facility are for students. So quite a few, if you can think about all the programs you see in here, we serve quite a few students. Some of the skills that all of our students receive out of these areas is, I think one of the number one is customer service. Customer service is huge, and in a facility like this, it's so valuable. And no matter what position you go into or what field you go into, customer service should always be at the top of your list. The other area is professional work experience. So we really go out and look for students for like event support services. We're trying to get students from the theater arts department that this is going to be their job in the future. So really, some really great professional work experience and skills. And time management skills, which I think is huge as well. And So as you can imagine, there's turnover in these meeting rooms all the time, so they have to learn time management skills to make sure that they're keeping up with the flips of the rooms and the equipment that are needed in each one of these rooms. And that is all I have for you. So I'm opening up to questions. No questions? Joey.
Can you, the sake, and for the committee, we have up here the annual reports. I know we're gonna have time set aside at a meeting when we don't have as much of a packed calendar. But can you briefly touch on, I know looking at the operations and also the custodial, if you look at the projection for the quadrennium, the two differences, I mean, this one shows at the end, some of the differences there, that the ending balance is showing quite a bit in the whole.
Yeah.
Flip side, if you go to the custodial one, it shows it quite a bit in the positive. So for the sake of answering a question that I know will come up when we're reviewing these in several weeks,
Yeah.
can you touch on that?
On the beginning fund balances?
Yeah, the beginning there and then the projected ending for the operations.
Sure. So beginning fund balance on our custodial is, it depends on the year, on what products we need to keep the building clean. If we need heavy equipment like the scrubbers, the floor scrubbers, those are thousands of dollars. We haven't needed those. We've been able to maintain them in good working order. So what ends up happening is you do end up with some of that carry forward. However, when you have that carry forward, it allows you to be able to do things like, for example, we're in the process of looking for a box truck. And why a box truck? Because all the surplus items, let's say we get new furniture, we're getting rid of chairs, we're getting rid of pieces of furniture that are in offices, we have to take that down to surplus. And right now we have a pickup truck, and the pickup truck's on its last leg. I'm afraid to drive it because the last time I did it, it failed. It's right in the middle of the road. So this kind of surplus allows for us to be able to purchase some of those needs that we wouldn't have been allowed to do if we didn't have that. So hopefully that answers your question.
So one piece just to add as a general piece when you guys are looking at these annual reports is if they do have a beginning fund balance for fiscal 18, it's purely out of non-S&A funds. So as you can see, this is not, if this was just an S&A allocation, it would not be funded necessarily correctly for the expenses that are associated with it. So we split fund it. So this other additional money has to do with S&A or sub fee to offset non-student payroll. And I think Sheree can talk about the classified pieces. And so the rest of it is all just based off projections, which could change as we know. And these were submitted quite some time ago.
And yes, Lacey made a good point. Last year we had quite a few custodial positions that were vacant, so we had a lot of surplus. And that's how we ended up with, one of the reasons we ended up with that big of a carry forward. Luckily, we're all 100% right now, knock on wood. So we're in good shape, but yeah, a lot of that is salary savings from positions that were open and vacant. Any other? Yes.
Well, then the operations.
Oh, and then the operations, you want to know about the difference in payroll?
Well, I think really sorry Sheree, I'm going to step in on here, is we talk about minimum wage all the time and what that impact is on the S&A committee. And so what this report really is showing is that if we don't change, if we don't update our allocations, we will potentially go in the hole. And so since we haven't approved any updated allocations or anything like that, it is showing what would happen if we don't. Obviously, we don't always know what's going to happen in the future years, but right now we are looking at fiscal 20, and there is going to be a 3% increase for class, well, potentially, not officially, but they will probably release that in the next couple of months. But we are prepared for a 3% increase. But this year, the classified positions have had, anywhere between 3 to 8%, and that's mandated.
And that actually, my area has mostly all classified staff. So this is really in a lot of these budgets, custodial budget and operations. The majority of the staff in there are civil service staff. So that's made a huge difference. And then as you can see, this is the budget that I set up. We had 22 students in. So you can see what that minimum wage increase, and we are paying them, like I mentioned, minimum wage and then $1 an hour more for leads, and we only have 5 leads, so it is really taking a toll on our budgets for sure. Eric had a question.
So is there gonna be, obviously, sounds like there'll be a need to ask for an increase supplementally?
So I will be coming to the committee, that's why I'm kind of like prepping you, you know, giving you guys this background. And so when I do, and we did this last year, is we go through each program and see what positions are filled and whether or not those need to be offset by the mandated increases. So you guys should see me here in the next couple of weeks, bringing up all of the base funded areas.
I have one question that doesn't really have anything to do with this, but I want to ask.
Yeah.
You were talking about surplus chairs and taking them to, over there, to the other place.
Yeah, surplus, yeah.
Will these chairs be part of that in the future?
That is funny, because I was just sitting back at the table with Jeff and I said, I should ask this group, you guys meet in here every week and use these chairs every week, if you want new chairs.
Let me
And
give
the
you an
answer
example.
is yes.
Let me give you an example. I'm sitting in a meeting, and then I do this.
Yeah.
And my arms go up like I'm in a ride.
Yes, I will be looking at new chairs, but here's the exciting part. This is the exciting part about these new chairs. We're going to take these chairs with the paw print to surplus, and you guys can go to surplus and possibly buy one. What do you think of that, Eric?
Brought to you by Surplus.
Yeah, brought to you. You can bid on them. Any other questions? No? Thank you.
Now we'll move into subsection B, supplemental funding request presentations. So we'll start out with request 1929. Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. Can I have a minute to just go back to the public comment thing? Or just like an announcement? I don't know.
Is it urgent or can it wait till the public comment second call?
Are you making a request or if you want to recognize it?
I guess I'll make
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to take time really quick because she did say that she needed to leave a little bit early from this to go STEM. She has an exam tomorrow. But Kirti Patel over here is our new appointed student to the S&A board, pending the Dean of Student Success approval and captain training. So just wanted to give her a shout out. So that way she can go see the test too, because student success. Kirti Patel.
Thank you, Kane. All right. Eric.
My question, we have two very similar requests of funds. I mean, they're going to the same conference. Can we present together, or?
That's what I believe they're about to tell you in a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If we allow them to come up.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Come on up. 1929 and
Hi. Awesome. Hi, I'm Alyssa, and I am currently a senior in the undergrad for family and child life.
And I'm Carissa. I'm a graduate student in the Child Life Graduate Club.
It's actually just
Yes. Big button.
yes. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So, child life is a profession where it's child life specialists, and they're typically in a hospital, pediatric setting, where they're able to help children and families cope through their hospitalization. And they do this by distraction, play, therapeutic play, and normalization of the hospital. So with that, they are able to tell the children what's happening with their diagnosis or through the procedure through the play by kind of normalizing and showing the children what type of tools they'd be using, such as like syringes and needles and Band-Aids, and so they could show the children visit the nurse or the doctor will have, so they were able to understand before the procedure. The Association for Child Life Professionals are a professional organization that helps hold certifications for child life specialists to become certified. They are also able to help with our exam that we could get, or that we need for our certifications. Sorry, excuse me. And they also help with holding our internships and practicums that we will need to further on to become child life specialists. So a little bit about our club is we do some services around the community outreach. We have, so far this year, we've done a few teddy bear clinics, and we've done that at the Family Healthcare Center here in Ellensburg. And we did that with the flu clinic, so we were able to actually go into the clinic with the nurses and families and show the children with therapeutic play on teddy bears how it was going to happen with their flu shots. We've also gone to Seattle Children's, and we helped some tasks there with building teddy bears for their teddy bear clinics. We have not been able to go to Mary Bridge yet, but we are currently trying to go. And we have a few students right now that are volunteering weekly at Cadlick Regional Medical Center, which is all the way in Richmond, which is roughly about an hour and a half away. And we get to work with the certified child life specialist there and do tasks for her.
Yeah.
We did do Central, and we helped out with the Community Connect, which is on campus. And the poverty simulation, which was held last Saturday, a few of our students were able to go and participate in that. Some of the fundraising that we have done so far this year is Krispy Kreme sales, and we did that by pre-orders. And then the next week we were able to get the pre-orders and hand them out, but then we also tabled in the circ. We are currently right now doing club gear, and we did a cornerstone takeover the first weekend of December. So a little bit about the conference is held this year in Chicago, Illinois. It is from April 11th to the 14th. More than 1,000 attendees from around the world come. We have some keynote speakers. So last year we had a speaker who was associated with the Hope for Henry Foundation, and she was the founder of it, and she was able to speak with her experience with child life, and she was able to incorporate that into her foundation and bring it to the conference and explain it to everybody. There's numerous workshops that everyone is allowed to attend, and they're all different. So a lot of us last year were able to attend different sessions throughout the conference. There are poster sessions where other professionals and students showed their posters for research, and then networking opportunities. So with networking opportunities, it's a great opportunity for us because child life is such a new profession, and it's really hard for us in a small community that does not have a children's hospital to get out and meet other child life specialists. So when we do go to the conference, we are able to meet people in the hospital who are in charge of internships and who do employment. So last year we had a student, when we were just sitting on the bus heading out, because our conference was in DC, she actually met one of the coordinators for an internship from Anchorage, and she was able to get in contact with them for further information for that. We are also exposed to new and current studies of research for child life, which helps us a lot to bring back for class. And we were able to presentate if we got them. And then we were able to do regional conferences later throughout the year, since we were not able to get on for this year. And we were able to get in contact with other organizations who have different hospital techniques and the computers. Right now they have virtual, digital, reality life that they use. And
thanks. All right. So additional benefits, what we can bring back to Central Washington. So some of the things that we can bring back for those who weren't able to attend the conference this year is that we're able to bring back the knowledge that we gained. And we're able to do this through Child Life Club meetings, which happen every Thursday. Our professors even open up time during class to talk about what we've learned, how it impacted us professionally and personally also. We also have a Facebook page that we're really engaged with, bulletin boards in Michelson. But also our program and university reputation. So what we're able to do, because we're so well represented over at conference, if we're able to go, is that because we are so big, I think how many people, 18 people are going, we're able to kind of put ourselves out there in the child life profession and get kind of known with them, engage with them. We're also able to kind of put ourselves out there because internships and employment is so competitive in this field. So also we're able to kind of put out that message that our undergraduate program and our graduate program is really supportive. The staff is there to support us and it challenges us to kind of pursue our career. So also, there was a selection process this year because of all the people who wanted to attend. So we had a submission for an essay that, like how it would impact you professionally and personally. So we had kind of like a screening process almost, and those potential attendees were actually having to commit to fundraising and pursue also mandatory meetings. So just kind of like a budget justification. So we're actually going to be staying at the hotel that or that the conference is being held at. So that's going to cut costs on transportation. So no Ubers or no shuttles there. We're also registering early, so that saves about $200 per person. The registration fee for a conference is around $380, and it goes up to like $500, I think, like on February 1st. So a little savings there. Also, we're going to be carpooling from Ellensburg to SeaTac Airport, and then we're going to have some really willing and nice parents to drop us off there, just so we don't have to pay for parking at SeaTac because it's around $17 per day per car. So that just adds up there. Also, we're going to pay for our own food, and we get, I think, complimentary breakfast at the hotel, so that'll be nice. We just have to cover, I believe, lunch and dinner. And then this is just kind of a breakdown of the cost of the hotels. Almost $4,000 for 18 people. Food we're covering by ourselves. The registration fee for everybody is going to come out to $8,190. Transportation for cars around $270. Airport is around $400, or the flight is around $400 per person. And then the shuttle, we're actually going to cut the shuttle out because we found out to the airport to the hotels around $34 per person. So we're just going to Uber and split the cost there. And then so the total we're going to add, well, the total cost is $22,626. So it roughly comes out to $1,257 per person. So what we're doing to cut the cost, kind of as mentioned earlier by Alyssa, is that we did a lot of fundraising for our club, by the Krispy Kreme, club gear, and asking the other accounts to help us out. Also, we're going to cover our own food costs, and then we have, let's see, so yeah, we got confirmed from Club Senate and Academic Senate. So we're asking for $13,476. So per student, it comes out to around $749, which is pretty good considering that we're traveling to Chicago for this conference, hotel fees, and transportation costs. So I'll just kind of open it up to questions. Yeah.
Let me just off the last part. So
Absolutely.
the request 13,476 is the combined for the grad and undergrad.
Yeah.
So you said you worked in an Uber, but then
Oh, we're not going to shuttle. So we found out that shuttling was more costly than Ubering. So we're just going to Uber around Chicago if we need to go places, like the airport to the hotel. Yeah. And hotel to airport.
Demetria? So you mentioned the workshops. Will you give a specific example of a type of workshop and how that would be brought back to the club?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the workshops there are going to be like the newest innovations and how to interact with the children, especially who are, like have chronic diseases, really intensive procedures. So just like ways to comfort that child and help them, give them some like coping skills to manage their pain or separation from parents during their hospitalization can really help just everyone in our whole club to help better their profession, their own skills.
So I was one of the students that went last year, and I'm hoping to go again. I'm also a graduate student, but So that, yeah, it totally covers a different range. There's like 5 sessions and they do at least 3 to 4 windows of sessions every day. So like an example of one I went to was about therapeutic animals. So I was able to go in and listen to the research they found on the help and support therapeutic animals give. They did a lot of interviewing with pediatric patients of how much it benefited them. So it's really a range of coping support, therapeutic animals, research they've done, and how it's helping. So it's really a big, broad spectrum of workshops we're going to, which is great so that we can all go to different ones in those sessions and bring even more back than just all of us attending the same sessions.
Yeah, so it's a really nice variety.
Tonya.
This is just a couple of questions. The 13,476 that was up here is different than the combination of the 2 requests that we have here. So it is the 13 that you're requesting?
Yeah, when we filled out the packets, we had not received funding from,
Like Club Senate and
Yeah.
yeah, so it was
For
just kind of,
grad.
yeah. So it was a little bit of an overestimate. So when we actually did the cost of everything, it brought it down to 13.
And then in terms of voting, do we then still just have to split that 13 somehow to vote on the 2 because there are the 2 proposals? There's more question for down here, I guess.
That is a good question. So last year they actually came together and we just awarded. It was voted and it was awarded as one. So do you guys have a cost per? But per packet.
yes, it is split because we do have 9 undergrad and 9 graduate.
Okay.
Yes, so it is half and half.
But it looks like there are differences in terms of how much money from other sources the grad students get versus the undergraduates. I guess that's not our.
Yeah. Well, the grad we had to split ours because we're family science and child life, so it's split. So that was a difference in, was it, which one, admin or club? Because we gave 1,000 to family side and then 1,000 to us, because undergrad got their full.
So if we just split their 13,000 down the middle, then the graduate students wouldn't be getting the more that they requested.
Yeah, we might want to talk about too about what the expenses are per, like what SAS and Club Senate awarded specifically, and we can touch base with that. As for the S&A committee, I think maybe just looking at it as one instead of the 2 might be easier to just discuss amongst ourselves, and then we can think about it per person. So there's a total of 18 students. Okay.
Demetria.
So you talked about the process of choosing students. Who reviewed those applications, or is there like an advisor going with also, or?
Yeah, so we actually do have an advisor going, Professor Temples, and she is a teacher in our program. And she actually reviewed the applicants, yeah. So she kind of went through them all.
Alex.
Sorry. Out of how many applicants were those 18?
We don't know how many applicants had applied, but she was the one who had let us know who was chosen.
Okay.
Have you guys considered going to like the Office of Undergrad?
I saw it. I saw it, Edgar.
So like going to our
Okay.
is it the
Office of Undergraduate Research.
yeah, and then like presenting at source.
Oh. Well, we do have the opportunity to, like within our research, our class gives us the opportunity to present at source if we want to take our research we're doing within that. And like they were saying with our research, it would have been possible to present at the conference if we had research like a quarter earlier. So that's good for undergrads who go and see what they're looking for in research, because then they could potentially take that next year. But I don't think we knew they have funding options. So.
So just to be clear, you're not presenting at the conference, you're attending.
Correct.
So then you wouldn't qualify for the
Oh, it's just an
undergraduate
okay,
research
then
funding.
no, no one's presenting.
Any further questions? Seeing none, we'll be voting on this next week. Cool. Thank you. Alright, so next up is fundamental supplemental funding request, 1931. NAFNY. Okay.
Here's a amount. Do you need help at all, or? I was just gonna go on. That's good. Oh. You can do that, thank you though.
Hello, we are representatives from our NAFNY Collegiate Club. My name is Hannah Reed. I'm the president.
My name is Danny, and I'm the secretary.
And I'm Kyle, and I'm one of the senators for our club.
And we are looking to send students to the Northwest Regional NAFNY Conference in Portland. So our club, like I said, we are NAFNY Collegiate. That stands for the National Association for Music Education. It's worth noting that our central chapter is one of the biggest in the country. We are nationally recognized. We are made up of future music educators. This means most of us are music ed majors or music education majors. Many are also performance or composition. All of us just want to teach music in some shape or form.
We're requesting funds to go to the NAFNY conference. The NAFNY conference is it's an event that's held biannually, and it's a 3-day event where it starts at 8 a.m. and it ends at 8 p.m. It's chock full of like workshops every day, every hour, stemming from like how to tune a band or like special techniques to. There was one that I went to that was like teaching special techniques for special ed students, and that one was really amazing. So it's just chock full of that. It's also chock full of concert hours where they invite collegiate ensembles, high school ensembles, and I think maybe some middle school ensembles like band, choir, orchestras where you can go and attend. It's open to collegiate, like future music educators, and also present music educators who present, and also I think retired music educators who come and give knowledge to everyone who's trying to get better or trying to get into this career. I think there's anything else. It's huge. It's a huge gathering of music.
Yeah.
So you might be wondering who we're sending and why we're sending, and who and why and when and how. As of right now, we're sending 77 students to this conference, and that number is hopefully will be going up as we're getting more seats for different things. Like you said, we're one of the biggest collegiate chapters in the whole country. 2 years ago, we were recognized as the largest, and we like to, we're very proud of it. But as well as at this conference, we're super well represented as the biggest body of collegiate members that go to this conference. We said it's on the bi-yearly thing because our state one's every other. So this is the one that's represented by the state of Wyoming, the state of Idaho, the state of Oregon, Washington, I think I'm missing Montana as well. And so we always are the biggest showing out of every single university that is a part of NAFNY, and we wear a little badge that says we're central. But some of the reasons why we want to go, like Danny said, the clinics are amazing. I like to say that these conferences changed my life, but it changed my life not as a collegiate student, but as a high school student, being in one of the honor programs. So the organization offers opportunities for high school, middle school students to come and be part of a jazz ensemble, an orchestra, a wind ensemble of peers. I was a part of a 400-person mass choir when I was a senior in high school, and it changed my life. And just being able to observe the master conductors that they bring in is a wonderful experience, and the clinics as well, all day. Like we start 8 a.m. And we're out of there. I mean, you said 9 p.m., but there's usually a concert, so it's usually almost 11 o'clock. But this is the biggest gathering, at least in the Northwest, of music educators. So we're right alongside our future peers as teachers, but also the teachers that are already in the field. So that means I could sit down to the person I'm going to student teach with one day. That means I can go up and ask questions of master teachers and take notes and just supplement my education. It's a large opportunity for teachers who are in the field now for professional development, but also for our students. And the students that we're sending, like I said, 77 students, that ranges from freshmen all the way to seniors. Like I'm a junior myself, this will be my third conference going, and it's a wonderful experience for future music educators.
All right, here's a breakdown of our budget. We've been approved for Club Senate. SAS is still in the works. We are requesting $15,000. We are carpooling. We're having 4 people per car. So that's about $20 per person to and from Portland from Ellensburg. Everyone had to run conference registration, and this was the cheaper price. We had them pre-registered so that they don't have to pay the $50 at the door. We were very upfront. If you don't pre-register, then you might not be reimbursed. All this is by reimbursement, by the way. We're looking to reimburse parking in Portland because it's Portland. And there's also hotels. And yeah, the members also are paying for their own NAFME membership, which is $29 for each student. They're paying for their own food and any other expenses they would like to do for the conference, souvenirs or things they want to buy from the conference itself. It's all on them. Yeah, again, this will be done by reimbursement because we're sending so many members. You'll see I have 100 people on here. The goal was to get 100 people signed up. Right now I'm at 77 receipts, which seems to be about the number that we are sending. This was all on the students to apply, or not apply, but sign up for the conference. So, yeah. Any questions?
Eric.
What determining factor are you using for what students are going and what students are not going?
If they want to be music education or music educators, they can go. We want this to be open to any student who wants to teach music.
Dang.
So the numbers are for 100 students. So potentially you wouldn't be using all the funds.
Yeah, if we don't use all the funds, we'll be give it back.
Lucy.
Just thinking of traveling to Portland in the winter, have you guys thought about maybe, you mentioned gas, reimbursing gas for people to a car. Have you guys thought about looking into a bus or any type of large transportation down there? Because that could reduce on parking.
That could be an option, yeah. Not something I've looked into. I'm going to recommend that students who are the drivers have chains or four-wheel drive just to make sure.
Follow-up question. Do you guys have an advisor that's going or any kind of faculty member?
Yes, our advisor is also going, and I believe we have 3 other faculty who are also presenting.
As well as most of the faculty, usually they also go. Our building kind of shuts down on that Friday. Not officially, but I know for a fact both my choir teachers will be going. So.
Demetria?
Okay. Sorry, I for a second. So, having such a large club, have there been any attempts at fundraising for this?
So our fundraising, we do that specifically for the clinics that we put on. Right now, I don't remember the exact number that's in the packet, but I believe it's a couple hundred that we have in the account. Yeah. What was it?
Just under 900.
You're 900. So we use that for the clinics that we host. We bring in clinicians. And as far as I know, we haven't asked for money for guest commissions. So we do our own fundraising for that. This is a separate thing that we have to ask for.
I know you said you're sitting at 77 now. Do you all have a cutoff? I know this is coming up in a couple of weeks. Is there like a cutoff date that you all are going to have that's going to have the final number, or?
I could say, if you don't send me your receipts by this date, you don't get reimbursed, so I could do that.
I just didn't know if there was something already out there. But.
And so did you say Club Senate did award the money and SAFs is still in the process of being voted on?
Yeah.
Have you guys reached out to Michael Middleton, the student engagement coordinator, at all about travel arrangements?
Oh, yes, I have a meeting with him.
Oh, great.
Any further questions? Seeing none, we'll be voting on this next week. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Alright. Now we will move into other business communications received. I have not received any. Alright, so now we'll move into the second call for public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Or announcements, or anything?
Public comment during the public comment time? No, just general statement.
I just want to congratulate King on creating an S&A committee that has very valuable members, but also is diverse. I find that very essential to all of what we do here at Central. So, thank you.
Alright, any further public comment? Alright, seeing none. Is there a motion to adjourn? Eric moves, Kane seconds. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of adjourning? All those opposed? Any abstaining? And with that, we are adjourned at 6:31. Good job tonight, guys.
You just want to remain consistent.
Yeah, I don't want to.